Alright, so I've been reading Undead Unluck since it came out. One of the things that I've mentioned that I've been really waiting for, and I've been actually pretty excited to see, are when we're gonna get to the other characters, like the other members of of the round table of this organization, and seeing what makes them them, and what like powers they have, what kind of individuals are we gonna see in the story interacting with these other main characters, with Andy and Izumo, and how exactly this is going to play out. And we ended up we're seemingly gonna get that in a bit, but we have to do like important plot stuff. But we do get to see who is the leader, who is the first ranked. I'm guessing it with the names because some of the characters were given like we have some names dropped, but I don't think they've all been directly like said like, oh, this is this person, this is this person. It's just kind of like laid them out there and you can guess. And I'm guessing because her name was the first red. That was like, what was it? Juiz? I don't know how it's pronounced. I think it's French. I don't know. If you're French, tell me. But the leader, like ranked number one of the group, just in action, which pretty badass at the start. I think I already like her. I mentioned that before. I thought she was interesting, but after this chapter, she's definitely pretty badass. But as we know, Uma Galaxy showed up, and we got to see exactly how this played out. Because we never, at the point of, like, what 20 chapters in, we hadn't seen how these penalties really work. We just know how that we had the idea of them. We know that it, like, puts some rule on humanity and stuff, and it kind of, like, affects everybody in some way, shape, or form. I thought they were going to fight this thing, but they sort of did, but not really. But, they put up Uma Galaxy, and they're like, all right, transport us to the surface, because they were going to see what happened. So the Uma Galaxy just kind of went right into space and spread out. And essentially, in their world, the way that it worked is there was only Earth and the Moon. I'm guessing the Sun as well, just because it makes sense. And that was it. It was one planet and, like, just one celestial body. I don't think the Moon counts, but you know what I mean? Like, the Sun, the Moon, and the Earth. Doesn't show the sun in the picture, but I imagine that it wouldn't make sense if there wasn't at least one sun before. But essentially, after that point, there was nothing, or before that point, there was nothing else in space. It was just us, and with Uma Galaxy, they like essentially spread out and made other planets. Made the rest of space. So all the other planets, stars, galaxies, and whatnot, now in their world just came to be. And in their world, it's like, oh yeah, everybody that isn't like part of like isn't aware of the certain like events, it's been put into their head that it's always been there. Like, oh yeah, we've always had these other planets and stars and stuff. It didn't just appear out of nowhere because of some crazy reality warping book. So yeah, it's essentially how a lot of this is going to be. This book is going to, as we kind of like were hinted at but fully shown, it will change reality and like history, and it will make it so something just has always been. Like if it said, if there was a dragon, like a dragon Uma, I'd be like, oh yeah, dragons exist now and they've always existed, and blah blah blah, like all this stuff. It essentially is doing something to affect everything in total. It's not like, oh yeah, you guys have to deal with this thing. It's like, no, history is going to get altered, and like you guys are gonna have to deal with this. And on top of that, they're like, oh yeah, and like humans have all this fiction and all these ideas about space and everything, and they're also really interesting. They have like the scientist guy, because they already showed Shen had his he's got his assistant, and the scientist dude has his own crew, and there's like all these people that have like these machines hooked up to their head. I'm guessing that when something like this happens, they're like siphoning information from them. So like when you have one of these events that, oh yeah, this has sort of always been a thing, because the Book of Revelations and the Uma, like it affects the people and affects their mind and memories. So this way they're able to kind of like extract it. So it's like, oh yeah, bam, we got it. And I liked it a lot because that reminds me of like something that I think a lot of people have always had issues with, like certain time travel series. Like if you time traveled and did something that came back, and it's like, oh yeah, you're you, but you're you in this other timeline where you suddenly just don't remember stuff, and it's not like there's a copy of you, and it's like, hey, here's the me from a different timeline, and here's the other me. It's like, yeah, you just appear, and for some reason you don't remember everything, but in this timeline, it's always been that way, you know? Anyway, I don't want to get into time travel shenanigans. I'm not as prepped for that as I'd like to be. But on top of it just being like, oh yeah, you know, space and stuff has always been a thing in this world. So are aliens. And the way to describe it is, because the Book of Revelation makes it so it's always been like this, but it's essentially like retroactively creating things. There's also aliens, but these aliens now are like where they would be after millions of years of evolution and all these things that they've accomplished and stuff. It's really interesting, just in the way that it can affect the world, on top of just kind of like bring things into reality like that. Or it's like, not only are there aliens, it's like they've always existed. They've always been like this, and now you got to deal with them. So you got these like alien ships coming in, and they're ready. They want to conquer Earth, and they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, we're gonna turn any capable humans left into working slaves and whatnot. And this is when the chick, who I believe is Juiz, I think that's her name. I'm guessing that's gonna be the one because her name was read first. But she just walks up when this alien's like, you know, who's the representative for your planet? And she just walked up. She's like at dick height for this dude. Legitimately, she's at like dick height. She's barely past his knees, and he's got like this knob that he's an alien and he doesn't have any junk. But if you look at it, you'd think like at the same time, that's pretty much his dick. Anyway, she walks up, not giving a shit. She's like, yeah, I'm the representative for Earth. And he's like, okay, your options are either you can be enslaved or eliminated. And those are your choices. And she's just like, yeah, I'll take neither of those things. And he's like, oh, yeah, you think you're going to really do anything? Like, she's like, shooting laser beams from their ship, trying to intimidate them, trying to act all tough. You know, it's like blowing up, like, blowing up hills. It's like these plateaus that just get completely decimated. And he's like, listen, if you want genocide of your species, then, yeah, so be it. We'll see how things go. Every last one of you humans are going to die. And this is what you get. This is what's going to happen when you resist this amazing alien force. And she's like, oh, is that your vision of justice? Okay, let's do this. She takes off her helmet, and she uses her power. So we know about Andes. We know about Undead. We know about Ismos. We know about Unluck. This girl's name, or power name, is Unjustice, and she says she's going to negate justice. So she takes her helmet off and just looks at him, and all the ships just start shooting each other, and they just destroy each other right there. I'm guessing that her power, the way it'll work, is going to be kind of like Nirvana from Fairy Tail, or Shinji's Bankai from Bleach, where it just makes people turn on each other. Or it just kind of like allies will end up just going against each other, or like it'll maybe like warp a vision, or like, oh yeah, we want to conquer these people and conquer this planet, and it gets negated of like just trying to destroy themselves, maybe, I'm guessing. Something like that, because we know that their powers are like this weird reverse. It's not like, oh yeah, my power is like, Andy's isn't like, oh, it's like undead. It's just I'm a zombie. It's like it's pretty much undead as like reversing it. We know that it's like, as named negators, you're negating an effect. It's not even an effect. Some of it seems to be like concepts and ideas. So this is already like a broken power. I'm curious to see like how this is gonna play out in a longer span, because like she instantly beats these guys and completely wrecks them. And the alien leader dude just seems to be like, they don't even seem to really kind of like care too much with him. Like, he's not somebody that after that point of like, listen, you can leave, or like we can continue. He just gets in the ship, he gets out of there. He's just like, shit, I'm not dealing with this. I thought it was funny that it's September 1st, like 2020, humans made contact with extraterrestrial life, but it was the first and last time, as well as contact would cease after. Like, the aliens just said, no, we're not fucking doing that. We're not going there again. Like, as an alien, you gotta imagine, as an alien, it'd probably freak you the hell out. Like, you're millions of years more advanced than this race. You're like, you guys are primitive. The first thing that happens that you show up is some girl half your size, just kind of like takes her off like a helmet and has this weird ability that causes like your fleet to destroy themselves. I'd be pretty freaked out too. I'm like, I'm not going there. That's some crazy like voodoo stuff going on. I'm not going to that planet. Fuck that. Nuh-uh. The other thing that was really interesting is they explain how this is the 99th like time that rules have been put on humanity, like the 99th penalty that they've had from the book. and there's a tablet that has 101 slots. So they only have two, like they pretty much have two more failures. They have one more rule that'll take place, and after that, the last penalty, so two more penalties, will be Ragnarok. It'll be the end of the world. So I'm very curious to know how like that'll like go throughout the series of if there's going to be two, like, will there be a way to undo one of them and maybe like help them a little bit? Like maybe that'll be like a very rare reward is undoing one of the penalties, which I think would be pretty cool. Because otherwise, like with only two failures, like how long would the series like last? I think maybe it would be like a really rare thing within their rewards to get like oh yeah, take one of them off of your choice or something. And then it'd be really cool to see how they operate if they're able to undo some rule that's been part of like Earth and humanity and stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. But also, if they end up doing like they kind of sticking like, oh well it'll be a while until another penalty, I'm hoping they do a lot more like character driven like stakes instead of it just being like, oh if we fail we'll get another penalty, because they can't just run that a lot, because if there's only two, then any time that it happens it's going to be a big deal. So and I mean really you can't even say like anytime it happens. It's obviously can only happen really twice. Anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this chapter and this series. I'm pretty hyped about this. I like this character. I think she's pretty cool so far. She's got a pretty broken power. And she's also got that like elemental sword I really want to see more work from. Anyway, other than that, comment below. Thumbs the video from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. And I thank you all for listening. Bye.